In the beginning, there was silence, a world of dust and water, of lightning and chaos. And then, something stirred. From a single drop, life began to dream, not in words, not in thoughts, but in chemistry. Atoms learned to dance, to copy themselves, to remember. That was the first act of memory in the universe, the spark of inheritance. Billions of years later, that same memory still lives inside us. Every human cell carries a quiet echo of the first living cell. Within that echo lies the story of one woman, a woman who lived more than 150,000 years ago. We call her Mitochondrial Eve. She was not the first woman, nor the only one of her time, but her lineage, and hers alone, survived unbroken. Passed down from mother to child, daughter to daughter, her mitochondria still hum within us, tiny engines of energy that once powered her life, and now power ours. Inside every one of our cells, these mitochondria contain their own DNA, a small circular code separate from the grand double helix of the nucleus. This DNA does not come from our fathers. It is inherited almost exclusively from our mothers. Like a secret thread woven through time, it connects every living person back to a single maternal origin. If you trace it backward, through your mother and hers before her, the line does not break. It bends across continents and millennia, through empires and extinctions, until it reaches one woman who never knew she would become the mother of all living humans. Scientists discovered her story not in myth, but in molecules. By comparing the mutations in mitochondrial DNA across populations, they mapped the branches of our shared ancestry, a vast family tree with roots in ancient Africa. Each difference in our DNA is a whisper of time, a change passed down through thousands of births and breaths. But the beauty of this inheritance is not just biological, it is symbolic. It reminds us that life is a continuum, not a collection of isolated beings, but a living thread that stretches from the first cell to every child born today. The egg, that single fragile sphere of potential, carries within it the wisdom of ages. It contains the machinery of life, the code that once sparked in a primordial ocean. And when it meets the spark of creation, it awakens a chain that has never been broken. Every heartbeat is an echo of hers, every breath a continuation of that first rhythm written in our cells. The mitochondria inside you, the same that once burned in her, still whisper, still work, still remember. We are, each of us, living archives, a collection of stories written in molecules, and all those stories begin with one thread, a single woman whose life became the foundation of us all, the first mother. The first spark, the first thread of everything. Life speaks, but not in sound. Its language is written in spirals, a silent poem of molecules, looping endlessly through time. Inside every cell, there lies a story 4 letters long. A, T, C, and G. Adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine, the alphabet of existence. These 4 bases form the script of life, written across 3 billion lines inside our DNA. It is a language so small it fits inside a single cell, yet vast enough to describe every living thing that has ever existed. The DNA molecule is both book and author. It writes, reads, and edits itself. When a cell divides, the double helix unwinds, 2 ribbons of memory separating like pages of a sacred text. Each strand serves as a template for the next, ensuring that the story continues without losing its place. This act is called replication, and it happens billions of times every day inside you. Yet the code is not static. Like all languages, it evolves. Mistakes happen, a misplaced letter, a skipped line, a duplication. We call these mutations most are harmless, some are beautiful. A few are catastrophic, but every one of them is an experiment, the universe trying new words in the endless poem of life. It is through these small accidents that evolution speaks. A new protein forms, a creature adapts, a species survives. In this way, DNA remembers not only what worked but also what changed. It is a memory written in motion, the biological equivalent of history, carved into time itself. Every human carries about 20,000 genes, but less than 2% of our DNA actually codes for proteins. The rest, once dismissed as junk DNA, is now understood as a vast landscape of switches, regulators, and ancient viral echoes. They are the ghosts of past lives, fragments of forgotten experiments, still whispering in the genome's dark corridors. DNA is not just a chemical structure. It is a library of resilience, a record of survival written across billions of years, stored not in ink or stone, but in the quiet logic of atoms. And within this logic lies beauty. When scientists first saw the double helix under X-ray diffraction, they described it as elegant, a structure that seemed too perfect to be accidental. Two strands intertwined, mirroring each other in infinite grace, a design born from chaos, yet shaped by purpose. If you could hear DNA speak, it would sound like harmony, repetition and variation, rhythm and rest, every heartbeat a verse, every breath a stanza. This is the language of life, a message written once billions of years ago, still being read by everything that breathes. It remembers who we were, what we became, and what we might still become. And even now, deep within every cell, it continues to whisper, "Copy me. Continue the story." Remember, life evolves through struggle, chance, and time, but it survives through birth. For millions of years, every creature that ever lived has been carried into existence by another. The act is ancient, the pattern unbroken, and at the center of this great continuity stands the mother, the silent architect of evolution. Long before humanity took its first breath, the story of motherhood was already written into the bones of the earth. In the primordial oceans, single cells divided and released their offspring into the current. Later, creatures began to nurture within, a revolutionary act in nature's history. To protect, to nourish, to sustain life inside one's own body, it changed everything. When the first mammals appeared, birth became an intricate dance between vulnerability and strength. Each new life demanded sacrifice, energy, blood, warmth, all given freely, instinctively. And through this sacrifice, evolution gained its greatest power, continuity. From ancient primates to the first humans, the maternal body became a bridge between generations. Every adaptation, every genetic improvement passed through her. The pelvis widened to allow larger skulls. The brain expanded, language emerged, hands became tools, and through it all, women carried the cost, the pain of childbirth, the risk of death, the exhaustion of care. Yet through that endurance, the species advanced. It is easy to see evolution as a tale of competition, of strength and survival. But beneath that surface lies another force, quieter, deeper, more persistent, the force of creation. While nature selects, women sustain. They are not only the vessels of life, but the architects of its future. Every mother shapes evolution in two ways, biologically and behaviorally. Through her genes, she passes on the code of survival. Through her nurture, she teaches how to use it. In early human tribes, women gathered food, cared for the young, and formed the social fabric that held communities together. Their instincts for empathy, communication, and cooperation became cornerstones of civilization. The maternal brain evolved for vigilance, for love, for endurance. It learned to balance fear with courage, exhaustion with tenderness, and with every generation, this quiet intelligence grew stronger, shaping societies, shaping the very definition of what it means to be human. Yet, history often forgets its silent builders. It celebrates the hunters, the inventors, the conquerors, but rarely the ones who made their existence possible. Behind every revolution, every discovery, every civilization, there were women giving birth, raising minds, holding the fragile thread of life with unwavering hands. The story of evolution is not only written in fossils and bones, it is written in the warmth of a heartbeat, in the touch of a mother's hand, in the patience that allows the world to begin again, generation after generation. They are the unnamed architects of time, the builders of humanity, the quiet power behind the miracle of continuity, the mothers of evolution. Not all memories are stored in the mind. Some are written in the body, quiet, invisible, but enduring. They live in the rhythm of the heart, in the chemistry of the blood, in the way a body reacts before thought can intervene. This is the secret language of epigenetics, the science of how experience leaves its mark upon life itself. DNA carries the blueprint of our being, yet that blueprint is not fixed. It can be touched, annotated, awakened, or silenced by the world around us. Stress, joy, fear, hunger, every emotion, every moment sends signals deep within our cells. Tiny molecular tags attached to our genes, telling them when to speak and when to stay silent. In this way, the body remembers what the mind forgets. When a mother lives through hardship, her body listens. It translates the language of survival into chemistry. If danger surrounds her, her hormones shift, preparing her child for a world of scarcity and threat. If safety and love envelop her, her child's biology learns calm, trust, and resilience. These subtle adjustments, chemical whispers written onto DNA, are called epigenetic marks, and they do not vanish at birth. They can linger, passed from one generation to the next. In the mid-20th century, scientists began to uncover evidence of this invisible inheritance. Children born during famine carried altered metabolisms decades later. Grandchildren of trauma survivors showed changes in stress responses. It was as if experience itself could reach across generations, echoing through time in molecular form. But this inheritance is not destiny. Epigenetics is not a prison, it is a dialogue. What one generation writes, another can rewrite. Healing, nurture, and love can silence the echoes of fear. The genome listens always to the environment, adapting in real time. A mother's touch, her voice, her heartbeat, these are more than comfort. They are biological signals, sculpting the architecture of a child's brain. Safety becomes chemistry, love becomes structure, her body becomes the first teacher of trust. It is here that science meets poetry. Because what is inheritance if not memory? And what is memory if not love that refuses to fade? Every scar, every tenderness, every unspoken fear leaves a trace. And yet, so does every act of kindness. The body remembers both, the pain and the healing. Both are written in the same language, carried in the same blood. Perhaps this is why humanity endures. Because even in the face of suffering, mothers pass down not only the memory of survival, but the possibility of hope. Within every heartbeat lies a choice to continue the chain of fear or to rewrite it with compassion. In the end, the blood remembers everything, but it also remembers how to forgive. Time does not move in a straight line. It flows in circles, spiraling, weaving, folding back upon itself, and through its endless motion runs a thread, invisible but unbroken, the lineage of life, passed from mother to child, through blood, through breath, through love. Every birth is a continuation, not a beginning. When a mother holds her newborn, she is not just holding the future, she is holding the past, living again through the warmth of her own creation. The heartbeat she once felt beneath her ribs now echoes outside her body, carried forward. Generations are not separate chapters, they are verses of the same poem. Each one begins where another left off, repeating rhythms, changing tones, but always whispering the same refrain. Continue. Our cells remember our gestures, our instincts, our fears, all shaped by the countless hands that came before. Imagine a single line of women stretching back through time, mothers, daughters, granddaughters, thousands of names, millions of faces, each one connected to the next, not by chance, but by a sacred thread of inheritance. Within every living woman today lives the chemistry of her ancient ancestors, the mitochondrial memory unbroken since the dawn of humanity. She carries within her the energy of those who once walked under different skies, spoke forgotten languages, and dreamed the same dreams we still dream. The grandmother's lullaby becomes the mother's whisper. The mother's courage becomes the child's heartbeat. Even the smallest gestures, a way of holding a cup, a certain smile, the tone of a voice, are threads woven into the tapestry of generations. We inherit not only genes, but ways of being. In this grand network of continuity, time itself feels alive. We are not simply moving forward, we are circling around a center, returning, evolving, remembering. The faces change, but the essence remains. Each generation becomes both ancestor and descendant, a bridge between what was and what will be. Science tells us that every cell in our body renews itself over time. Yet the pattern it follows is ancient. The instructions, the invisible design, have been copied and recopied for billions of years. And still, the line holds. Still, the thread endures. To exist is to be part of this web, a single knot in the fabric of eternity. Our lives are brief flashes, yet together they form something infinite, a living continuum of memory and matter, bound by love's quiet persistence. Look at your hands. They are your mother's hands, and her mother's before her. The same shape, the same warmth, the same ancient purpose, to hold, to create, to comfort. We are not alone in time. We are time itself, braided and reborn. A tapestry woven from countless lives, each one shimmering for a moment before passing its light to the next. These are the threads of time, unseen, eternal, alive. For billions of years, life has written its story in a language older than words, a language of molecules, codes, and quiet replication. Today, humanity stands at a turning point. For the first time, we can read that code, edit it, and perhaps even rewrite the next chapter of evolution itself. Within every cell, strands of DNA spiral like threads of destiny. They carry the memory of survival, of mothers who endured famine, birth, and change, and of the delicate balance that kept life alive. For most of history, women were the unseen guardians of that continuity, passing on not only life but the biological script of adaptation. Now, as science peers deeper into the double helix, that ancient role finds new meaning. Genomics is revealing a truth both scientific and poetic, that we are not fixed, but fluid. Genes are not a sentence, they are a song that can be remixed, rewritten, and harmonized with the environment. Through biotechnology, we have begun to understand the mechanisms that shape our health, intelligence, and even empathy. The genome is not destiny, it is potential waiting to be guided. And guiding it increasingly are women, scientists, geneticists, and bioengineers standing at the frontier of discovery. Their work bridges the biological and the ethical, the personal and the planetary. From decoding the genomes of ancient hominins to developing CRISPR therapies that heal hereditary diseases, they are expanding the boundaries of what it means to create and sustain life. But the future code is not only about science, it is about perspective, the understanding that progress must honor the same wisdom that evolution itself has always followed: balance, resilience, and renewal. The next stage of human evolution will not be a race of stronger bodies or faster minds, but of deeper harmony between technology and biology, humanity and nature, the individual and the collective. In this new era, the maternal lineage, once traced through mitochondria, evolves into something larger, the nurturing intelligence that sustains our species. The same compassion that once cradled an infant now guides decisions about the genome of future generations. The same courage that birthed civilizations now faces the ethical dawn of creation itself. The story of life has always been co-written by nature and nurture, by chaos and care. Yet perhaps the next verse belongs to those who understand both science and the soul of it, to women who carry in their very cells the proof that life endures, adapts, and transforms. The code of the future is not just in the lab, it's in the choices we make, the empathy we extend, and the knowledge we dare to pursue. The thread continues, unbroken, from the first mother cell to the last star-born child. And as we step forward into this luminous unknown, we are not just observing evolution, we are becoming its authors. In the end, all stories circle back to where they began. Life, too, is a circle, a rhythm that moves through time, never truly ending, only transforming. Every heartbeat, every breath, every spark of consciousness is part of a continuum that began long before us and will flow long after we are gone. Within each of us lives the echo of the first woman, the one whose mitochondria still hum softly in our cells like an ancient lullaby carried across eons. She was not a queen or a prophet, but a beginning. Her legacy was not written in monuments or language, but in the code of life itself, a quiet endurance that became the foundation of all that followed. Through the vastness of time, this maternal thread has never been broken. It passed through fire and ice, through the rise and fall of continents, through wars and rebirths, through generations who loved, lost, and lived. We carry their triumphs in our blood, their memories in our bones, their resilience in our genes. The human story is not a ladder, but a web, and at its center, the first mothers still breathe through us. Science has shown us the machinery behind this miracle, the replication of DNA, the inheritance of mitochondria, the fragile dance of molecules that makes memory possible. But beyond the biology lies something deeper, an unspoken continuity that connects atoms to stars, matter to meaning. It is the realization that the universe did not simply create life. Life became the universe's way of remembering itself. From the first spark of chemistry to the cradle of a newborn, the same pattern unfolds: creation, transformation, return. We are made of stardust, yet shaped by hands that once trembled with care. The cosmos gave us form, but women gave us continuity. The two are inseparable, one infinite, one intimate. Perhaps that is what immortality truly means. Not the endless persistence of an individual, but the ongoing rhythm of connection, a chain of being that stretches unbroken through space and time. When a mother holds her child, the universe holds itself, a reflection of all beginnings. As we gaze toward the future, decoding the genome and exploring the stars, we are also in some quiet way coming home. Every discovery brings us closer not to escape our origins, but to understand them, to see that the circle of life is not a prison, but a promise. The first woman's breath still moves through us. Her eyes, through countless generations, still seek the dawn. And as we pass the torch to those yet unborn, we whisper what she once knew without words, that life is sacred, that connection is eternal, and that every ending is simply a return to the beginning. The chain has never been broken. It only changes form, and within that endless circle, from cell to soul, from mother to child, from cosmos to consciousness, life remembers itself again.